Hi guys, and welcome to another segment of Beyond the Film Festival. So today, on behalf of the premiere of The Drownsman, which is held at the Fantasia Film Fest, we have got the production team with us. So Chad Archibald, the film director, Cody Calahan, the writer, and Christopher Giroux, the producer.
What I'm seeing, it's in your head. This is different. I'm seeing this man. This is an intervention, Maddie. People overcome their fears all the time. You need to understand that this is just a phobia.
We're gonna try and make contact with the entity you're seeing.
We open ourselves up to communicate with whoever it is that wishes to speak to Madison. We opened something! Please, not today, Sebastian. Something's after us. All of us. I don't know how to stop it. He's here.
No, he's not. He's not real.
Like, did you guys have any problems working together, off or on camera, or how did the chemistry go?
I think, I guess the timeline would be, I had done a few films in Guelph, and I got hired to produce a film in Toronto. Okay. In Guelph, I was making films that were like, we had never been on a set before, I'd never been to film school. We were literally just running around with cameras, I don't know, filming our friends, trying to make stories up. But we had actually made a few legitimate films that went out to the world. And then I got hired to do a film called Sweet Karma. And I remember I was in a subway, and we were doing meetings with people. I think we were supposed to be meeting at some restaurant, but it was closed and whatever. So we ended up meeting in a subway, and we were meeting an assistant director, and Cody Calahan came in. And back then he had, flippy hair, and he was like kind of this
flippy hair,
like
flippy hair.
I think he had a hat on or something.
Okay,
I don't know.
What's flippy hair?
Like flippy hair, like does that make sense?
Like hockey hair.
Yeah, like hockey hair. Anyways,
Okay.
He was like,
I have hockey hair.
kind of came in and he did a great interview, and we ended up working together on that film, and we bonded so well right away. We got along so well. He helped out in that whole production, even outside of his duty as assistant director, and we went on and ended up doing Never Lost, which Cody produced.
Which premiered here.
Yeah, which premiered.
Both films did.
Yeah, Sweet Karma played here as well. And then, at that point, me and Cody started working together on everything. And should I tell the story of Chris G?
Sure, yeah. It's an interesting story.
So Ryan Barrett, who's actually plays the Drownsman, he was directing a short. And I went to help out one day. And I was walking through this underground parking garage, and I was looking for where the chute was, and I hadn't actually found them yet. And then I heard some banging, and I looked over, and in a stairwell, Chris G, who is working on the short, has been locked in the stairwell for about an hour with no phone reception, and he's like pounding on doors trying to get out. It's his first time working with this crew and everything. And so I went in and opened the door, and he was like, "Oh my God," and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Hey, I'm Chad." And he was like, "I know who you are." And
I already know who he was because of the films that he's produced. So here I was like wanting to go out and like make like a good first impression. And because I knew Chad's work before. And this is the way I get to meet Chad. I've been locked in his staircase for an hour. He has to come to my rescue. Like, I feel like a bumbling idiot, and that's how I get to meet him. So, but ever since then, we've done virtually every project together: features, music videos, shorts.
So I mean, at this point, I mean, me, Cody, and Chris, and our entire crew we are such good friends. But it all derived from filmmaking, and business is always first. But we've all bonded so well that it's like working with your buddies who are all passionate and serious about working.
Yeah,
Right?
that's really good. And what's different about this movie? What's different about the Drownsman from the other couple movies that you guys did? And
well, we did Antisocial, which was kind of like a technology-based horror film, and it's very like relevant and new age. And the Drownsman is more of a kind of throwback to like 80s, 90s supernatural villains, like the Freddys and the Jasons and the Pitheads and like all those classic horror characters that are still so relevant now, even though they were created decades ago. We just wanted to create a new one. There's it seems like they were all made in the 80s and 90s, and then there's just this giant gap where very few of these kind of iconic villains were created. So we just we love those films growing up, and we just wanted to make one because they're just so much fun to make.
Yeah. And it's still interesting, I guess, even throughout the decades, stuff like this are always like captivating, I find, to like anybody, adults, teenagers. Also.
Yeah, and it's like these kind of genres also have that cycle, right? Everybody does it for a while, and then it goes away, and then it comes back. So, I mean, I'm hoping that Drownsman kind of does that.
Yeah. So, who came up with the idea first of the movie? So, you guys had the idea together? Or?
It's funny because they go through so many different variations that by the time we actually have a script, we just basically look at everything like we all.
Like we had walls covered in ideas and backstories and different movie titles and different villains and.
Yeah.
I mean, the water-based idea was definitely yours, the hydrophobia, because I remember you came to me with that, and then we kind of just went from there.
Yeah, we had done a ton of research on rabies, and because kind of the idea of creating a character that was water-based, it's still something that hasn't really been done that much. And it's something that kind of like growing up, I was always afraid of water, and I'm a very poor swimmer even to this day. And so we started looking into the idea of the fear of water, and we started finding things called hydrophobia, which is basically rabies was called hydrophobia before it was called rabies. Because whenever a human being gets rabies, they develop a fear of water, and there's videos online of doctors pouring cups of water on the ground in front of people with rabies, and they're just terrified, like screaming and crying, and it gets so bad with rabies to the point that they are actually afraid to swallow water. So a huge part of rabies is actually dehydration and whatnot, and they have to actually give them intravenous to actually give them their fluids. So we wanted to create a character that, not the Drownsman, but the lead character in the movie that had a sort of hydrophobia, a fear of water, and like most fears, everyone else around you outside, just look at it like if you just face your fears. There's movies, there's so many themes and stories and ideas and songs about just face your fears and then everything will be fine. This movie's about all of her friends trying to make her face her fears, but unfortunately her fears are much more real than just a normal fear of water.
Yeah, it actually leads me to the second question, which is, what's the purpose behind the movie, behind the idea, the whole idea? Like, what do you want to project the most to the audience that would see the movie like this, and what's the whole message behind it?
Well, I mean, there's themes in it of like, mental illness and kind of different methods, like
coping too.
Yeah, and her friends are very. They get to the end of the line with her. Basically, they all love her, they all care about her, but it starts taking over her life so much that they're convinced that if they can just force her into a situation where she can see that there's nothing to be worried about with them all around her, that she'll be safe, and she'll all she needs to do is just face it once and she'll be fine. Unfortunately, whenever they try to do that, they just blow it. They just screw it up so bad.
And why in August, the movie premiere? Why didn't you guys wait? Did you guys want to wait until October and release it for Halloween?
For release, Fantasia's our favorite festival.
Oh. Okay.
So we premiered. Chad has premiered numerous films here before. Chad and Cody have both premiered numerous films here. We premiered Antisocial here last year, and we always kind of joke when we're in very early pre-production that the goal for both these films was to premiere at Fantasia. That has always been kind of like a joke, a mission, if you will, to be like, this film, we want to make it, we want to premiere at Fantasia. It's our favorite festival in the world. So it's always a goal while making a film. And, you know, it doesn't always line up. Like we're going into production for a new movie in 20 days. It'll be done way before Fantasia next year, right? So we'll have to premiere that movie somewhere else. But the goal for the last two films, for Antisocial and Drownsman, I guess, would always to be premiere at Fantasia. So that's why summer release for this.
How long did it take you to make this movie?
This is our fastest turnaround yet for a film. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started script development virtually this time last year. And then we shot in October and November. But we were done the film in the can, ready to rock February. And we showed it at the Cannes Film Market for like its market screening and then premiere here. But we waited to premiere. We waited a few months in between.
It's been done for a while.
It's been done for a bit. That's why we're all really excited to show it on August 2nd to kind of finally get it out there. So.
Wow, that's really interesting. And well, I would start by you and then we'll go with you guys. One word to describe the movie.
One word
If I haven't seen the movie and I want to have a hint of it. So how?
One word. I think for me, I think the one word would be claustrophobic. I think there's a lot of scenes that are, especially being underwater. Ever since I saw Jaws when I was a kid, like dark water really frightens me. So like even a dark pool, I wouldn't get into because I would be afraid a shark would come and get me. So I feel like claustrophobic would be a word that I would use to describe a lot of the scenes in the film.
I don't know. I'd say soggy. It's a very soggy film.
Everything I would agree with that.
Everything in the film was soggy. We just tore down the set over the past few weeks, and everything was soggy.
I think that's a great word.
Yeah, the Drownsman's very soggy.
He's very soggy.
Everyone in the film gets very soggy.
Yeah.
Your turn, bro. What's up?
Well, I'm following Soggy, so I don't know. I'm still gonna go back and say like old school, like going back to Freddy's and Jason's. So I'm old school.
Okay. Any upcoming projects that relate to you guys?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, we in 20 days we go into shooting Antisocial 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's our first sequel.
First sequel in the company.
Are you guys planning on having the premiere year 2 next year?
Well, it would be done way before next year, so I feel like we.
But we'll see. We'll see.
It would be great. It would be great to premiere here or screen here at least, but we would be done by Christmas time.
It'll be done in October.
It'll be done in October. It'll be in the can and done. Picture lock, ready to screen in October. So, who knows? All ready to rock. Yep. We go to camera in 20 days.
Oh, okay.
Well, and then in September, we're actually shooting 4 more movies this year. So Antisocial and 3 more this year. So, always projects, always more projects.
Yeah. We recently signed a deal with Breakthrough Entertainment that we did the Drownsman and Antisocial with, and we've worked with them so well. Everything was going so well with them that we actually just signed a deal for 8 more films. So we have a ton of films that we'll be working with Breakthrough with, and we're pumped about it.
That's really exciting. So I wish you good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.